Commanding Spirit led the way. Repetiteurs a length and a half away, and it's Commanding Spirit basically all the way in the last.
The outside breathing down his neck, and Rhoden takes the lead late from Accountability. Rhoden in front. Rhoden beat Accountability.
Roman 100 to go, holding Sir Rocket for the moment. He's got to come again, Sir Rocket, but Mandalong Roman's got him. Mandalong Roman, too good.
There's funds at the 100, excess funds, High Strangers, the late closer digs in, excess funds trying to grip on, High Stranger dive, missed, excess funds.
G'day punters, welcome to the Sydney Review Show. We're going to be taking a look at the Kembla Grange meeting, the Gong as it was named, but we'll start off just quickly and touch on the fact that the Golden Eagle's been extended for another 4 years, so it takes us through to 2026, many more years of a yellow bird race. Mark Shean, it was meant to be funded by odds and evens, but 60% will be funded by the tab and the rest will be by an increase in product fees. Odds and evens, do you have a line as to when you think that might be coming to an end?
No, I'm not too sure on that, but I'll give Chris Roots a bit of a pat on the back there for actually mentioning it in the Sydney Morning Herald. He said that it was the unsuccessful wagering option, odds and evens, which we probably could have told most of the people who bet on the spinner many years ago that that was going to go down the same path. But, boy, gee, the tab are throwing plenty of money at a lot of races, aren't they?
Yeah, they must have done pretty well this year with COVID. Hopefully, for their sake, it lasts a few years longer.
They touched on the real issue in that article too. When they talk about moving the Bondi to Melbourne Cup Day, because it's $1 million race, they'll be able to charge top whack racefield fees.
Absolutely.
So, you know, we did sort of mock them about odds and evens, but it's all about the racefield fees, and it looks like it's been pretty successful.
Yeah, exactly right. Look, we'll touch on Saturday just gone. The meeting overall, Mark Shean, what did you think of the Gong meeting there from Saturday?
Look, I didn't mind it. I think it's a bit of a change from normal Saturday racing to go to Newcastle and then Wollongong. I did nearly choke on the cornflakes this morning when I read somewhere that said it was worthy, the field was worthy of Group 1 status. I think that's a little bit of Spin City right there. But nevertheless, I thought it was an interesting day's racing. And as I said, a bit of a diversion from the normal Saturdays.
Yes, indeed. Mark Rhoden, first Saturday with us on the service. How'd you go overall? You had Kembla Grange, you had, I think, Gosford as well.
Yeah, ended up in front. It was a grind, but we won. And that made it a winning first week too, which was pleasing. Would have been a monstrous first week if we'd got a couple of photos at Rose Hill on Friday, but that wasn't to be. But yeah, there was plenty of action and finished with the head in front on what looked a tough day on paper.
And Rob Scurry, you've just returned from tennis. You're
I'm a beach treat.
Freshen up, but your thoughts on the Gong meeting there from Saturday?
Oh, look, I didn't go, so I can't comment too much. I had a shocker. I think my only winner on the day of in-run punting was victim to something at Tatura. Mm-hmm. And when Dawn Passage jumped out well, I thought, oh, that's going to win. So, yeah. Next year, no Gong for me, just complete freshen up. No betting.
Sounds good. You've got Warwick Farm Wednesday and then a meeting on Saturday. Thoughts for the punters ahead?
Yeah, look, I'm keen to get back on track, as I always am. I'm not sure if a Warwick Farm Wednesday. They start a bit late this time of year, so Warwick Farm might be out, but I might try my luck at Canterbury. I think they're running up Canterbury Friday night and back up with Rose Hill on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, beauty. Well, we'll touch on races 3, 4, and then the quaddy legs 6 through 9. We'll start with race 3, which was won by Accountability, but after a protest, J-Mac was on Accountability this time after it won last start as well. Rhoden with Nash. We'll be talking about Nash a fair bit today, I think, on the show. Mark Shean, I'll start with you. Obviously, the protest was fired in. There's no head-on vision that I'm able to find on Racing New South Wales' website, but you would have been able to see the vision there on replay after the event.
Yeah, look, I've stopped framed it a few times. I had something on the winner. I backed a couple in the race. Just when Significance went up favourite on Wednesday, the tab didn't go up with their market, and a few other corporates went up, and the market was a bit skew if I thought. So I was lucky to have something on the winner at $15. But as I said, I backed a couple in the race. But there did only appear to be a run for a very short time there. Stewards stopped framing and saying that You know, he'd established a run. Not quite sure that he had, but I'm happy that they think that way. Then Relucent rolled in, and when Significance rolled in as well, they followed each other in, or one followed the other, I should say. And the stewards deemed that Accountability established a run. As I said, I reckon it was only a millisecond, but look, he probably was a good thing beaten on the day, and the protest has been upheld, so perhaps the best horse has won, but I think I'd be a little bit filthy if I was on the first past the post.
I apologise there. The stewards vision, you actually just have to click the button that says stewards. It's still a bit early here. On both of those scalpers there. The better result was Relucent, though.
Yeah, typical, isn't it? This is the first protest I can remember being upheld in my favour in about 15 years, and it's cost me money. So, but
that's good.
Yeah, I don't know. What have they? It didn't look like he really established a run. You know, he's shifted in without the being 2 lengths clear. It's got a bit of honor and
takeover target on honour and war. Oh, don't bring up Ray Graves. Oh, Graves. Look, I don't care. I don't care as long as they're consistent, but they're not consistent. So it's protest lotto. In our chat group, it was like, oh, it's about 50-50. We didn't know.
No, we didn't know. No. So anyway, it's good to be on the. It was a lot better position to be in than I had been waiting for the photos at Rose Hill on Friday when I didn't have the second horse or the eventual winners. So, yeah, I agree. Bit of a coin flip, the decision, but anyway, what do you do?
Will there be any consistency? We should be able to cite this as a precedent when they're in these situations. I reckon the connections of the horses should be able to cite previous protest decisions, because I'm totally unclear. 40 years into the game, or 30 years into the game, which way protest can win this.
I think it was a lot harder to get a protest in the old days. I think in the last couple of years, it's become a bit easier, just in my opinion.
Is the actual getting of evidence by jockeys and trainers of any use?
I think we can probably dispense with that, but I suppose they just go through the normal standards that they've done. There's been a couple of protests which have been, the True Detective Superior one was a bit of a head scratcher as well. That's a couple of years ago now, but I think there was another one. I just can't cite the names at the moment, so I shouldn't talk about it, but there was another one that was a bit of a head scratcher as well.
Mark, where do you stand on takeover target honour in war?
Oh, no, I can't believe that. That was almost in the Choisir Planchet bracket for mine.
I was on Choisir as well. Backed at every start of his autumn 2-year-old campaign. Good horse.
I love hearing you guys talk about protest results. Amazing. In terms of the rest of the field, it was a very fast run race. They've gone 6 lengths faster than class on the punting form data to the 600 over the 2,000 metres. Is this potentially one of those rare staying events where it might have some level of form going forward? Mark, Shean, I'll throw to you first.
Well, he's a very nice horse, this horse. Even though he won the other day at Rose Hill, to my eye, he still looked probably a run short, or a half a run short at least. He was up a bit in weight, but I think that's now 3 wins from only 5 starts in Australia or something like that. So, he's a progressive type, and he does look like he'll run 2,400 metres as well. So I don't think this is the bottom of him by any stretch of the imagination, even though this was a pretty even sort of field. Stockman ran okay, probably just got a little bit too far back and probably wants a bit of cut out of the track. Not sure that Kerwin's Lane actually got a strong 2,000 metres from the position he was in. So I think the winner is certainly the one to follow.
Mark Rhoden, is that the way that you're seeing race 3 there from Saturday?
Yeah, it's a pretty good race. I think sometimes with staying races that are truly run, it can flatter them a bit because so many of them aren't. So it can be a bit misleading, but they're not a bad group, I think.
Okay. Well, let's jump to race 4 over the 1,000. Hulk was far too good for the rest of the field. On an even tempo, 1.8 lengths slow to the 600 there. But look, overall, Tommy Berry got the horse into a lovely spot, and it was far too good. Mark, Shean, your views from race 4 there on Saturday?
Well, I think Chris Waller's sort of sorted Hulk out now. He's just keeping a little bit fresher and keeping him to these shorter races, and he seems to be appreciating that. His last couple of runs have been really good. He was unlucky. I know Mark was on him at Rose Hill last start. And things fell into place for him a little bit here. There was 4 horses went out hard. Mansa got left, and sort of that put him out of play a little bit. And Destination failed first at the end of his preparation, I should say. So things fell into place for Hulk, but good to see him hitting the line now. It took a long time to win a race, but at least he's getting to the line nowadays.
Mark Rhoden, what was your thought going into race 4 there on Saturday?
Yeah, I was the same as the market virtually. I had Destination and Hulk 1-2, but my concern at this stage of the meeting was that both were going to be probably second half of the field. Yep. That put me off Hulk. Hulk, he was very strongly supported. But yeah, I ended up just treading. I wanted to tread it very warily. Had a very small bet on Ghostly out at barrier 1 for Nash. But yeah, didn't really want anything to do with it. I could make cases against the top 2 in the market, but yeah, it did set up nicely for Hulk, and he was just too good, really.
Yep. And are you going to be following any of the other runners, any of the beating brigade you can make a case for?
I don't know. Mansa Musa had an excuse for sure, but he could be best fresh anyway, so they might have missed their shot at the title this time in. But I wouldn't set that in stone, but that could be an issue with him. Broken Arrows has run on; he always runs on. No, not really. I just let these turn up where they turn up, and I assume Destination's headed for the prep now.
Rob, talk to me about Hulk.
Oh, it's a horse I found early in its career on many a Wednesday. Yeah. But yeah, I it's just a perfect waller. I didn't know whether it was a miler or a 1,000-meter horse. Turns out it's a 1,000-meter horse. It's just looks. It's always looked like a sort of a Saturday horse to me, and it finally is one. Yep. I don't really. Most of these look like Wednesday horses to me. Destination, better fresh. Yeah, flat off the wet run.
Yep. We'll leapfrog race 5 and go straight into race 6, which was the benchmark 78 for the fillies and mares over to 1,200. Intrepidatious was a horse that obviously I think a fair few of us had a bit of confidence around, and got to the front and had a very easy lead, and it was probably too easy in the end. They've gone 5.9 lengths slow to the 600 on the punting form data, and it's been overrun late by Turnstile, Makura, and the winner, Stolen Jade. Mark Shean, run us through race 6 from your point of view.
Yeah, Intrepidatious did get a soft lead here. Maybe being left in front the first run for about 6 weeks was probably just a bridge too far in hindsight. She had her chance. Stolen Jade has come back in outstanding form. 3 wide first up, faced the breeze, leading a half a length at Canterbury. Was heavily back there just before 9 a.m. On Betfair, and then trimmed right up on the corporate. So it was hard in the market. Lovely to ride from J Forward just to let the leader go and then try and get her to settle with a trail, or at least sit at the quarter of the leader anyway. I thought the run of the race here was definitely done Brody Power, though. Was 4 wide on a limb for the first section of the race, a long way back. And this race was so slowly run, and all the horses that finished in the placings were right up on the speed. So I thought without a doubt this was the best run in the race done Brody Power.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, you obviously sent out the late bet on Stolen Jade after having a few units on Intrepidatious. Just run us through the race as it's unfolding, if you watch the run.
Yeah, I was on pretty good terms with myself. Your point might be right. Maybe would have been better running them along a bit more, but I thought it was the winner turning for home. Thought it was a little bit disappointing at face value. Yes, luckily we saved the furniture on Stolen Jade. I was against Makura, who got held up a little bit. She's going okay. I mean, how long a prep she's going to stand with perhaps her physical limitations remains to be seen. Excellent run done, Brody Power. I'm just every start I'm going to be worried about her racing style, because I think she just always gets back. Enlighten Me was very good as well, but whether she's just at 30 to 1 or something, but whether she's a fresh horse is another query as well. One with a bit of a more attractive, to me anyway, racing pattern is Turnstile. I think it's come back pretty well. It came out of that horrible race on the wet track that Miss Steed won first up, but I think she's actually performed better here and running second in this better quality race, and there might be a Saturday win in her not too far away. Rob,
what's your thoughts on a couple of these runners? You've got Stolen Jade, Turnstile and Makura first 3 across the line, and then Intrepidatious. Do you have any leaning to any of those horses at the moment?
Mate, I didn't really get. Don't have a profile on Stolen Jade. I can't remember it. Maybe I wasn't there when it ran previously, or was that meeting I was in the grandstand at Rose Hill. I'm not sure, but you know, I said last time when I was keen to take Makura on, she'd be short. She is $3. Yeah, you know, I did lay her the place, so it looks like a pretty average race. And Intrepidatious John O'Shea, do you really want to take a short price about his horses on a Saturday? I don't think you do.
It wasn't short though. It was
Yeah.
It's $5.
I guess it's not short. I guess Makura's in something's got to win. Jay Ford, Clary Connors. There's a. It's not a really gold combination on a Saturday, you would think, but here we are. Great game.
All right, race 7, the Gong. There it is. Oh, $1 million over the mile. Archedemus. It's been a horse that's sort of come up a few times so far on our previous shows, and we've sort of wondered, you know, what's going to happen with this galloper. And here he is, just settling on speed. And what was an even speed, 1.2 lengths fast to the 600 in punting form starter, and holding off Dawn Passage late. Mark Chen, I'll go to you first. What was your thoughts heading into the Gong there, and watching the race? Which horses are you going to be following, if any of them back up out of this?
Yeah, look, I thought it was a tough race, and I couldn't have backed the winner. I thought a couple of runs there he failed in the wet, which is going he normally does like, and he was disappointing there. He did bounce back a little bit at Hawkesbury when he was beaten by Black on Gold, who you'd hardly say is a horse who wins very often. So I thought it was a tough race, and I never got near the money here. Dawn Passage loomed to win. I think the only horse out of the race was Brandenburg to take, was dragged right back from a wide alley. Normally he's a horse who settles in the first half of the race at least. I thought he made nice ground through the line, but, you know, he's had 4 or 5 runs now this time in. So a lot of these horses, I'm not sure if they'll press on towards the Villiers. Many of them have probably had their grand final and then another grand final on Saturday in the Gong. They've gone twice.
Yeah, exactly right. Mark Rhoden, the market managed to find Cascadian once again. It's been found a few times down in Victoria, and there it was once more, but obviously it's always going to typically settle back. But in terms of the first couple across the line, on review, could you have found Archedemus at all?
No, I don't think so. What's happened here is that Positive Peace and Archedemus have got out 6 lengths in front and they weren't going hard. So there's been some probably misjudged rides here. They probably working off the margin from leader rather than how fast they're actually going. Some of the jockeys back in the field who were set huge tasks. Yeah, I don't really know what to take out of the race. Purple Sect was very disappointing. It was the one that was actually closest to the 2 leaders and looked within striking distance and didn't finish off. A few of those have finished off okay, like Cascadian, and good run Think It Over, I thought, back to the mile after a bit of a wide trip as well. Probably there's a few to forgive, like Asiago and Batiga, but where they end up, I'm not really sure. So I'm not going to label anything a black book or anything out of this race.
No, exactly. You know, that potential Group 1 field, maybe not so much watching the replay. Rob, did you have any thoughts with any of these? I mean, obviously you've seen quite a few of them. Some are coming back up from Victoria.
You know, this is a Group 3 welter field. Dawn Passage, I don't think he gets a mile. I don't think the stable's, you know, getting anywhere at the moment. They just can't seem to get over the line. You know, Yao Dash down in Melbourne was terrible. But, yeah, Jay Ford, City Double. Brandenburg, good run. Purple Sector, fresh, better. Best of Days, he seems to need to be retired. You know, just hit his level. Like, he's going to have to run a lot more to sort of get his rating points down. Reloaded, run 4th. There you go. You know, Think It Over seems to be better than a Saturday horse. You know, he won a weight for age race. Didn't think he could do that, but yeah, he's a horse that parades well and is racing well. But you know, where's he going to go? Maybe the Villiers. Maybe there's the Villiers horse.
They're confusing races, aren't they? Because a couple of them have been to Melbourne to run in a Group 1. They've come back. They're having another throw at the stars. It was like the Hunter last week. You've had horses racing through that would normally go for spells at this time, and then they're sort of just going for one more run or two more runs just for the $1 million, which you don't blow in the O's. You want to do it yourself, but it can play with the form a little bit.
Yeah, it's just sort of messed up the pattern of the different races they'd be aimed at this time of year. It's just thrown a few things out of whack. So Archedemus is straight off to the paddock. He's only had 3 or 4 runs, hasn't he? And that's it.
Yeah, he's only lightly thrown, so
Yeah,
you can see the reason for that.
That is a good point, though, because then going forward to the autumn, I mean, does that then interrupt the traditional preparation for a lot of these horses for some of the autumn races just by extending the spring into the summer? They don't really get a proper break, and I don't know, does that really make some of these form a little bit iffy when you see them resume next prep?
I don't know. And could that? Sorry, boys. Could that be an animal welfare issue? Running horses too long as well. The shorter springs, shorter break back to the autumn.
These aren't going to be running in the weight for age races. Well, they might be running in them, but they're not. Going to be Queen Elizabeth or Australian Cup chances in the autumn. I don't know how much of that is going to stuff up.
Yeah. I did hear on the radio this morning that Best of Days was still in the market for the Kingston Town over here in WA in 2 weeks. So I think I assume he won't be making the plane trip for numerous reasons. Race 8 on Saturday was a benchmark 88 over the mile. Matawi, Chris Waller, J-Mac settled back in the field, managed to get over top of Elaborate and Bet You're Flying, who was sneaking up the inside there. Vegas Jewel was also pretty close up there as well. So a bunch finish in the end. Slow tempo, no surprise. It was a bunch finish, 4.6 lengths slow on the punting form data to the 600. Mark Shean, run us through race 8, and is there anything you're possibly following coming out of it?
Well, this is probably, apart from Hulk, the only race, the last 2 races where you could sort of make ground from the back of the field. Most of the other winners were all in the leading division. Well, Matawi backed up from last week. He was back from 1850 to a mile, which probably suited him a little bit better, but, he doesn't win out of turn. First win this time in from about 9 or 10 runs. So just one of those races. So I thought Bet You're Flying was going to win when she dived through with no weight on her back. Just didn't sustain the run. I think Elaborate's the one that's going forward. He can get up to 2,400 metres. So the fact that he sprinted so well fresh in shorter races this time in, or a little bit longer, he can handle dry, he can handle wet. So I think he's the one to take out of the race.
Mark Rhoden, was a pretty interesting market from 9 a.m. through to jump time. Obviously, Matawi was around that $7 mark in the morning. Bet You're Flying was much the same, and they both firmed in. And Birdieback coming up from Melbourne really got the blows towards the end there.
Yeah, there must have been a bit of information that was going to miss the start by 8 lengths, which I missed. I chased it. I had no intention of backing him, but the price got so big. I didn't think he mapped well, even if he had jumped. But when he was, getting up to approaching double figures, I was just a little horse of his quality. I had to have something on, and he was out of play. Actually, thought he was tracking into the race okay, coming around the turn, but the effort told. Yeah, I mean, you might remember on Thursday, Matawi was the first horse I mentioned. I thought it was a good price, but I'd already missed the 8 and 850 that was around in the first markets. I thought, six-ish is still acceptable, but I'll wait and see. And they just kept cutting the price, and I missed it. I couldn't back it at under 4 to 1 where it landed. Unfortunately, ended up on Elaborate. I thought it was, the market I thought was too heavily against it, either because it was second up or because it was a dry track. I didn't think he was a wet tracker at all. I think he's capable on both.
Yeah.
And he's gone with it very close, been beaten a short of about a half ahead. With the exception of Birdieback, who came up from Melbourne, it's pretty much usual suspects though, isn't it? It's again not a huge amount of stuff to take away from it.
Yeah, well, what did you think of the start, Mark? Did you have a look at the start there, the head on or not?
I didn't. I didn't actually. I was moving on to something else, I think. But what did you make of it?
Well, he did look to still be moving around there. He hadn't attendant in with him, and he was a bit fidgety in the stalls. The next minute, the finger went up from the assistant starter behind that everything was sweet. They pressed the button and he went up in the air. Look, you can't predict that they're going to do that, but no. I'm not sure that he was standing properly when they actually effected a start.
I think, and as we saw the other week with Girl Tuesday, unless it's been actually restrained by the attendant or something, they're not going to give you your money back.
Well, the attendant did have hold of it, and another attendant next to him started pointing at the attendant. Slight hold of it. But anyway, the horse ran, so what can you do?
Yeah, a little bit funny there, actually. I'm just watching it then. It's almost just sidestepping. Rob, usual suspects, as Mark Rhoden called them. Do you have time for any of these usual suspects?
Birdebeck I've got time for. Just slightly in front on him overall. But I think he's fresher, or, hopefully I think John O'Shea will space his runs. Maybe he's the Villiers horse. But yeah, Matawi's got up by a small margin. Amazing ride to get it home. Spencer's probably, if Bjorn could get Spencer back, I'd love to see it. He's been one of mine in the past. Vegas Jewel keeps going around. Betcha Flying, there's your mark for the race. Is that a Wednesday or a Saturday horse? I don't know.
Yeah.
Betcha Flying.
All right,
72 rater or something.
Yeah. We'll go to the last. It was benchmark 78 over 1400. And look, Monegoal's got the win here off a slow tempo, 3.8 lengths slow to the 600 in punting forms data. It's edged out Knight of Power, but I guess it's probably more about Greek Hero than anything in terms of there has been an inquiry adjourned there to the performance of Greek Hero and Nash Rawiller. Mark Shean, what is your opinion on that matter?
Okay, well, the horse did get left, and just looking at the head on, there wasn't much he could do at the start there. I think the horses around him did sort of crowd him a little bit, so I doubt that he could have made any positional move in the early part after he missed the start. But the concern is his vigour from about the 450 to the 200 metres. Now, look at Nash on Friday on instant attraction. For instance, this horse is trucking up behind the leaders, can't get a run. As soon as a run appears, he rides it like his life depends on it. And that did not appear to be the case on Saturday when a run appeared for Greek Hero at the 450 metre mark. He seemed to take a long time to get through his gears, Nash, to get him rolling. And it wasn't until probably the 150 metre mark that things got a bit serious.
Mark Rhoden, what did you end up in race 9? Because I suspect I know the answer.
What did I end up doing on the race?
Yeah.
No, nothing. Stayed out.
Okay, good. I thought it was one of those where you ended up back in Greek Hero.
No, it was. Yeah, I don't have much more to add to what Mark said. Sorry, Greek Hero. Funny ride. Obviously, we don't have full access to what goes on in the stewards' room, but the atmosphere got a bit tense there. Nash was being asked some questions, and he was firing back at Wade Birch and the stewards, from what I read, asking him to ask the questions more politely and stuff like that. So he got his back up a bit of being called in, obviously.
Rob?
I'd left by this stage. I was off out to dinner. Not surprised to see Monegoal win. Rule of the World, is that finished? I haven't even watched the race, so I shouldn't say anything.
all good. Mark, was there anything else out of the race, Mark, that you thought might have been worth touching on going forward?
Look, the Knight of Power has been gelded this time in, and he's still just in the parade off the TV. Probably was a run short. He's a very gross horse, who trialled well but didn't hit his straps last time in. But I think it was a touch unlucky here. I think Cuban Royal just came up and just put him in a bit of a pocket for a stride or two at the top of the straight. I think that was the difference between winning and losing. Monegoal was on the outside and had clear air and was able to wind up, whereas Knight of Power just had to check for that stride or two, and I think it might have cost him the race at the finish. So I think it augurs well for him going forward, particularly in a race over a little bit further. But away from that, I think Rule of the World's probably cooked, and Greek Hero, well, we've all seen that.
Except for me. And I will say, I will have a look after this. And I was on Knight of Power last prep, and he was very disappointing. Looks like a decent horse. Looks like a Saturday horse to me. A good Saturday horse.
All right, very good. I'll get a couple of horses to follow from each of you. Mark, Shean, I'll start with you. Is there one or two that really stand out from the card at Kembla?
Yeah, I thought Dunbrody Power. Another one was Golly I'm Lucky. I can't find what race it was in now, but it was another one who was right out the back. He's a horse who, that's his normal pattern, but I think the way the track was playing at that stage of the day certainly was against it. So I think it was a good run, and Dunbrody Power, the other one. So they're the two, and the Greek in the last, but he'll be pretty short next start, no doubt.
I would have thought so. Mark Rhoden, for yourself, a couple to follow from the meeting?
Same race as Golly Unlucky, race 5. I thought Juventus, which the market told us wasn't run short, was about 4 runs short. So actually run on pretty well for. It got out to 50 to 1, and it's run third. Run on quite well for third. So he might be in for a decent prep. And I'll be looking. Maybe go against the crowd with Greek Hero next time, because every man and his dog's seen it. I anticipate he'll go up extremely short if he steps out in similar grade next time, and then that might make the market. And again, I think people are going to make excuses for Makura in the mares race, and so she'll probably go up favourite again next time out if they're pressing on with their prep, and that might give us an opportunity as well.
Do we think there'll be a jockey change on Greek Hero?
Well, he is I think he's the retained rider for Dynamic, so he does all their stuff. So it's quite doubtful.
Okay. And Rob, I won't get a horse to follow because obviously you weren't in the yard there. But Saturday, Rose Hill, possibly Canterbury. What's the first thing you're going to do when you let back on course? I'm assuming you get full freedom this time. You won't be confined up to a grandstand or anything like that.
I don't know. Just let the horses talk to me. Should be looking forward to it. Betting in the run, back on track. Can't wait.
Yep, I can't wait as well, because I'll have Mark Rhoden's set coming through. I'll have the prices there. I'll have Rob Scurry just giving me the late stuff out of the yard, and I'll probably be standing in the yard at Ascot while trying to look at that on 2 phones and trying to send out mail on another one. So looking forward to that. Guys, it's been great. We'll preview the Rose Hill meeting on Thursday. So thank you for joining me. Enjoy the week ahead. We've got Warwick Farm on Wednesday, Mark Rhoden, and then anything else that you're focusing on? Obviously Canterbury on Friday. But
yeah, not doing the Newcastle meeting tomorrow. It's a Cessnock meeting, so I'm just going to duck that one. But then we got Warwick Farm, Wyong, Canterbury, 2 meetings on Saturday, and back to Newcastle on Sunday. So 6 meetings across 5 days. So plenty of bang for your buck.
All right, enjoy that. If you want any of Mark Rhoden's set, head to the mailbag.com.au. Same with Rob Scurry's late mail out of the Mounting Yard. Mark Shean, thank you as always. I'll speak to you on Thursday.
Thanks, boys. See you later.